Enjoy world-class radio online. ZFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZFM Stereo and you got it. ZFM Stereo Talk.
Our business is able to access currency through the formal channels.
Let's take it this way. Until about this time last year, we were running what I call an over-liberalized foreign exchange market, something that no other country does. Especially in a situation where the hard currency, the US dollars, is the medium of exchange. It's almost like the sole currency, and yet we don't print it.
The talk that gets you talking, Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m.
The platform. Step up and speak out.
ZFM Stereo, my station, your station.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZFM Stereo and you got it. Enjoy world-class radio online. ZFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZFM Stereo and you got it.
Step up and speak out.
You tuned into ZFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. Apologies for that. We just had a bit of a gremlins. The mics are working fine now. My name is Kwirirayi, and it is the platform once again. And it's Political Monday, and we're talking about the important issues around politics in this country, especially it being an election year. Just to remind you of the frequencies you can listen to us across the country: Chivu 99.8, Kama TV Wange 105.1, Mutora Shanga 97.6, Nyanga 98.2, Mashingo 96.1. 1, Kadoma 105.2, Gweru 104.3, Mutare 95.4, Bulawayo, which is my hometown, 106.7, and then we're broadcasting out of Harare, where our frequency is 106.4. And then listen to us, of course, via the TuneIn app, which is available for free. Just download it off your favorite store, and then also go to www.zfmstereo.co.zw and listen to us live and in charge. And now, in as far as social media, just follow the conversation on Twitter at ZFM Stereo, on Facebook, facebook.com/ZFM Stereo, and on Instagram is ZFM Stereo ZW. And as far as how you can get in touch with us during the show, our call-in number is 0772 168 and our WhatsApp number being 0731 168 Get in touch with us on this very important topic. Now, Zimbabwe goes to the polls in a few months. The question is, have the country's political parties done enough to encourage the youth to participate in political processes? And how many members of parliament across the political divide are youth at the moment? And the youth themselves, are they interested in political processes? In fact, you at home as a youth, are you actually interested in political processes? In the studio tonight, I have youth leaders from the country's main political parties, that is ZANU-PF and MDCT. First of all, the MDCT is here represented by the youth chairperson, Happy Mochiziva, as well as Love Mochino-Putsa, who is the secretary of the party. We had advertised earlier on that the secretary for youth affairs for ZANU-PF, Kwirirayi Garepi, was going to be in the studio, but was not able to make it. We'll give the opportunity to his deputy, Louis Matutu, to help to tell us what happened, or apologies on his behalf, whatever the case may be. Feel free to be part of the conversation, but first of all, to Mr. Matutu. We've been talking about Mr. Kwirirayi Garepi, yes, just for our listeners, because they had been looking forward to seeing him.
Thank you so much. Thank you, listeners. We had other commitments because, remember, the party is busy trying to prepare for elections. He was in a meeting, policy meeting, and right now I left him. They're busy trying to craft our manifesto. So I had to step in for him. Of course, I was part of the team, and I am to represent the ethnic.
Well, you are his deputy, so we're pretty sure that whatever he say, you'll be able to take care of it. Now, the first question I'm going to ask, of course, in as far as, let me start off with, of course, Mr. Chidziva. My question for you is, has your political party, for example, done enough to encourage the youths to participate in political processes within Zimbabwe?
Thank you. Good evening, Zimbabwe. The movement for democratic change, as you know, now we are into an election pact called the MDC Alliance. I think we have done enough, and we are still doing more. We have started by the issue of demonstrations on electoral reforms that we have seen. The issues, the voter registrations, it was easier for the youth, especially on the issue of proof of residence. We have different campaigns that we launched. Hashtag #MyZimbabwe campaign going around Zimbabwe. Hashtag Nzizi Voter. All those campaigns have yielded some results for us. As we see, for now, we can say the youth have registered voter in numbers.
So when we're looking at youth participation in the voting, you're saying that there's a lot of these campaigns that have been put together that have allowed for you to be able to communicate with the person on the ground. Same question for you, Mr. Matutu, in as far as this preparation for elections.
Thank you so much. You see, as ZANU-PF League, we've embarked on a lot of programs that promote youth participation. And also ensuring our support for our party and our president, Comrade Nangagwa. Maybe let me start with the recent one, going back. That yesterday we actually launched a youthful campaign, hashtag ADS My Vote, that is targeting young people. We are trying to make sure that young people participate freely and in a comfortable manner, because I'm sure you know, my youth are not zvinoita kuti vafile kuti they are part of something. Social media is always in the game, and most young people, as the statistics say, you constitute about 67% plus. So that's what we are targeting as a party, and also we've also advocated for a youth quota within our party to say we cannot go to elections unless young people's issues have been addressed. Not necessarily to say my elections are going to now but that's what we are putting to young people. We have also reached out to young people in our structures, but to our students and in tertiary institutions. Those people, most of them, they are new voters, and we should be able to give them something in support of whatever they are doing, trying to solve their challenges as young people. So they're trying to sort out their issues to do with fees, trying to make sure we support their education. And as always, recently, that is 2 weeks ago, we embarked on a program whereby we putting up meals and STEM meal for young people, so that we don't talk of empowerment just as something Jatnongotaora, but something that is on the ground, to make sure that even if we're going to elections, young people should be empowered so they can make independent decisions. So those are some of the things that we're doing as Sandra feels like.
Mr. Shinopusa, the question I would ask you though is there was reference that was made to the fact that ZANU-PF is looking at a quota system. Is that the same thing that's happening within your alliance or within your party?
This has become the norm in ZANU-PF. They've perfected the art of taking a cue from the way the MDC has been running things, and we're happy that at least we have people who realize the good work that we are doing. I think as early as 2016, we made a resolution at our party then that we needed to make sure that young people are really participating in politics, because the MDC, taking you slightly back, when the first question that you asked it about the participation of young people, the MDC has always believed that the participation of young people is key, and you say that what participation for us means their presence. Participation to us means young people being able to make key decisions within the organization, and that is what we've been doing. So in 2016, we then said that we needed to come up with a quota system where young people specifically were going to be uplifted. We didn't want to talk about upliftment of young people without practicalizing it. So we came up with a formula, and then we said we needed to have a minimum of 20% in terms of representation. That means we're going to have a minimum 20% representation in our councils, a minimum 20% representation in the parliament, and a minimum 20% representation in cabinet, as a method and mechanism of ensuring that young people are kept on, to make sure that young people are kept to make sure that young people are kept in the loop. So we have that, and then now, as Zimbabweans may be aware, there is now the MDC alliance that came into force when 7 political parties came together. And that principle, we've maintained that with the seven political parties that we're working with, to say that young people are going to be able to have 20%. And this is coming from the fact that when the MDC was formed, we put into consideration that young people were the majority of people in this country. And our leaders who were there that time made sure that young people were able to lead in terms of having a clear, we put up a youth assembly as a key youth organ within the party that was meant to ensure that young people's voices are heard. And we are the only political party in this country over the time that has managed to make sure that young people lead themselves.
Okay, 0731-168-045. That's the number to get in touch with us. 0772-168-045. That being our WhatsApp, or rather, that's being our call number. 0731-168-045 being our WhatsApp number. Now, in as far as 2018, the argument has been, and I'll start with you, Mr. Matuku. The question that has been asked, a lot of people have said the argument for the 2018 harmonized elections will be about youths. What is your take on that?
Yeah, well, I think that's very true. Like I've said before, given our numbers, obviously, for anyone to win this election, that person should have the youth vote. But what is critical is not just the numbers, but it is the participation itself. Are young people going to participate in the election process in such a way that they get that leeway to make the final decision as far as the voting is concerned. So, and also the issue of registration. Are those young people registered voters? Are they registering to vote? Because yes, there could be many, but probably majority may not be registered voters. But yes, I agree with you. Definitely young people are going to decide if they are registered voters and if they are going to vote.
So, the same question on your end, and as far as the FDC, Mr. Chidzeba.
Yes, the 2018 for us, we have already declared is a youth vote. And we expect the young people of Zimbabwe to be responsible citizens right now by registering to vote and going out to vote. As you know, 62% of the voting age in Zimbabwe are the youth. So there's no way we keep on allowing the minority to run the governance of the country when we are there as the youth. We are going to mobilize more youth, as we have already done on voter registration. We will mobilize them to go out and vote for change. And as you know, when young people participate, we shall see it by Zimbabwe having a change. As you can see right now, the young people, they have an issue that they have to fight for. The young people have never tasted anything that is good. And if we allow another 5 years under this system that we are in, we are going to see young people going to retirement age without even getting a pay slip. And we have seen it when this junta government took over the power, that all the young people were made sure that parliamentarians, they were removed. And as you see right now, even here with my friend Louis, the leader, 60 years. And if young people doesn't take up their arms and participate in the upcoming election, our future is doomed.
A statement that is made for you, Mr. Matutu. The idea that this is a question that someone is asking, and this is a question posed to both of you. There's Sam Motenga, who says, why are there not visible number of youths in Parliament?
Yeah, thank you so much. I think what just like what I said, I always keep on referring to what I'll be saying in process. It is important for young people to understand the importance of participation. Right now, if you look at what is happening, people are preparing for elections. So it is up to an individual to say, what role should I play in this election, such that I make sure that I make certain decisions that affect or are going to guide my future. So young people have to register to vote. And if they vote, if they participate even within political parties, specifically in ZANU-PF, young people should go out there. They should go get seats in councils. They should go get seats in parliament. They should fight for it. No one is going to say, so and so get this constituency, so and so get this constituency. Because remember, I will tell you, no one would want to leave power. And it is up to us young people to make sure that we fight for that, and we can only do that by participating. Maybe if you can allow me just to get back a bit to what Matthew just said, my colleague from MDCT, that of change and that of maybe leadership, youth leadership. I will tell you that we see change in different ways. As young people from ZANU-PF, we don't believe that change is when opposition is in power. No, we believe that change comes with the way things are done, with the way of governance, way of tolerance, the way of the political atmosphere in the country, and other things. That's how I see it. And probably they might think that their own definition for change is when they are in power, which I tend to disagree. And it is up to a political party to see as how they're going to structure their organization. I would tell you, yes, it's true that Comrade Togarepe's youth leader is a bit older, although he's not 60. He's actually around 48, thereabout. But the thing is, I am elected with young people. That's why I'm a deputy secretary who is above 35. I'm actually 31. I'm very young. And young people in our party look up to me because I am of their age and they voted for me. and Comrade Togarapi is appointed by the president to make sure that he looks after us in terms of cascading the decision of the leadership as far as youth are concerned. But no one imposes any decision upon us. Neither can he tell us to do something that we don't believe in. We stand for ourselves. We think we should participate in things that matter to us as young people, and we think that we must push our issues as young people as far as the things to do with the elections, the economy, or even the parliament that you're talking about. The numbers can only increase in parliament, my young people, provided those young people participate in the processes that are taking place in the country.
Okay, 0731-168-045 and 0772-168-045. I want to come back to something that Mr. Chidzeva said. I think for the purposes of this discussion, the use of words like junta and so forth are inflammatory, and I think we want to move away from things of that nature, because I think where our country is going, we want to avoid certain words like that. Is there something we can do?
Yeah, the only way you can move out of words like that is when we, the young people, are able to go out and vote out a junta government.
But I mean, in all fairness, and as far as this is concerned, when we're looking from a legalistic point of view, the reference to the current government in place as a junta government is not patently accurate. So what is just requesting that, in as far as that reference, we'd like to not have that reference made in as far as this discussion is concerned, and focus more on the issues of the youth at hand.
Okay, no, it's I heard you, but what I have been saying is not like
it's okay. Okay, just for the sake of posterity, so that we can give this discussion back to the can we not make reference to the government in place as the junta government in this discussion?
I get you.
Thank you very much. But I've got a statement that is here. 0731-168-045. Someone does. I feel like for them to bank on participation. This Samantha's asking a question, and I would like you to answer that question, Mrs. Chidzeva. We know we have to vote. What we want to know is how the nation will transform given that they take office. Selling the employment fantasies exhausted. Is that in what ways will change occur? So, and that's a great question for you. And then also the same question to you, Mr. Matutu. So how will, after we vote, okay, for the youths, how if the youths are put into power, how will transformation take place?
If the youth of Zimbabwe go out and vote for the best leadership, yes, transformation will come from a leader who will go into the youth aspirations. As youth in this coming elections, we will raise our aspirations. These are the aspirations as youth that we want. And as standard the leader, we have to follow our aspirations.
Okay, and the same question for you, Mr. Matutu.
I'm happy that I'm sure she's a lady who asked that question. My sister actually asked a question and mentioned the word transformation. To transform is a process, and it takes time depending on how it is being driven. And I will tell you, if young people are to participate fully in this coming election, they represent themselves starting from council level. They represent themselves in parliament, and it's critical that young people show their faces and make up policy as per their expectations and aspirations in parliament, because remember that's where most policies and issues to do with the running of the government are discussed. A lot can be changed, and it could be favorable to young people. Not necessarily to say the president is totally not favorable to young people, but there are certain issues that need to be discussed, certain issues that need some rearrangement, some realignment, so that they meet the aspirations of young people. And I think it is up to young people to understand the importance of their participation. I'll keep on mentioning participation because making out a lot of noise without participation will not solve anything. More like a person who will not go to vote, but after elections, the person will complain to say they are not doing anything for us, forgetting that you forgot to register the vote and you forgot to vote. So that transformation process needs a lot of participation, and the results that we come up with are the results that are based on our participation as young people. What is it that we want to achieve? What is it that we're expecting the government to do for us? If we do that, then we are guaranteed of probably the government fulfilling our aspirations. And if you don't mind, though you said that Manziwa should not mention about Junda government, whatever, something. I think maybe he should, because that's how he looks at it and that's how I understand it. But it is equally important for him to understand that maybe as opposition, they had their expectations during the transition process, which expectations might not have gone the way they were expecting. So that's why they would decide to label the government like that. But I'm sure the majority of them are satisfied somehow, though they might not say it out, with what is happening, given a lot of developments that are happening, positive developments. Look at the president assuring them that we're going to have free and fair elections. And you looked at him, I know him, he meant what he was saying. He will actually have a task as young people to make sure
I think for the purpose of posterity, I've heard you there, but I think we want to focus more on what the youth have to do. We don't want to focus on a lot of that stuff. I think he has accepted and moved on with this. The question that is being asked here of you, Mr. Matuta, I would like to ask Matutu, considering what he said about embarking on paying school fees and giving hammer millers, isn't it vote buying? Why doing it now towards elections?
Thank you for that. Unfortunately, if we had started now, all these processes, maybe one could have said it's vote buying. SANPF is known for empowering young people. We had a lot of programs. The one maybe long back, we used to have a youth fund, which was a product of SANPF, though it was done through government. But unfortunately, most young people abused that fund. And people had to rethink of other things that can be done to make sure that we safeguard state resources while it's empowering young people. And right now, just following up on that to try and redress that and use a different approach. Whatever empowerment fund is coming, which I'm sure some will come anytime soon, young people should not be given money, but rather procurement of materials and equipment that they want to use during their project as they do their entrepreneurship business is going to be done by their financial institutions. And way back before, SANPF has always been doing a lot of mining with young people, small-scale miners. You have seen a lot of stem mills and processing plants being set up across the country. It's not the first thing, and we are not doing it now, but we are perfecting it. Looking back to say, here we did it, here we did it well, but here it needs to be improved. And we are only improving on those processes, working in line with the expectations of the new dispensation. Otherwise, we've been doing these things, and I wouldn't think that it could be vote buying. I don't think so.
Okay, I'm going to ask, I'm going to bring Mr. Chinoputsa before we take a break. I want to ask this question that's coming in. Do you have a dream of having a young president in this country one day? If so, who?
I think Zimbabweans are not short of capable young people that should lead this country. And I like that question because Mugabe for a long time stole our a lot of people's opportunities. Mugabe overstayed in power and stole several generations, including the current president's generation. So when young people begin to ask questions of that nature, it really means that they are worried that we will not at this rate we will not have a young president.
So the question,
75-year-old. No, let me finish. The question is yes, Zimbabwe is ready to have a young president. And do you have
anyone in mind? Somebody's asking.
There are several young people that can lead. The MDC, in fact, is a 39-year-old vice president, which means he's already part of the presidium.
Okay. All right. We're going to take a quick break right now. When we come back, I've got a follow-up question to that. You know my follow-up question is ZFM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town.
Here we go again.
Enjoy world-class radio online. ZFM Stereo is available on TuneIn. Search for ZFM Stereo and you got it.
Can we begin by looking at Zimbabwe's debt clearance plan?
We have since cleared our arrears to the IMF, and right now, clearance of arrears to the African Development Bank and the World Bank is underway. It's work in progress. And I'm confident that we should be able to reach an understanding this year.
The talk that gets you talking. Mondays to Thursdays between 6 p.m. and 9 p.m. News, lifestyle, charts, live radio, station highlights, and much more. Get it all on zfmstereo.co.zw.
Step up and speak up.
It is the FM Stereo, my station, your station, the hottest radio in town. It's Political Mondays, and we're talking about elections this year and asking how youth's participation, how political parties are doing. What are you political parties that you're supporting doing as far as including you in the elections? Do you feel as a young person that you are getting a political party that is saying, okay, come and be part of the process? If not as a voter, encouraging you to go and register to vote, and then as someone who can become an MP, a councillor, whatever the case may be. Do you feel there's a space for you to be? Do you feel the political parties are putting the space for you? That's the conversation we're having tonight. Get in touch with us on 0731 168 045 and on our call-in number, which is 0772 168 045. In the studio, as I said, if you're only tuning us now, I've got present here the youth chairperson for MBCT, that is Happy Mochiziva, and then the secretary, Mr. Love Mochino Putsa, and here for representing ZANU-PF is the deputy youth affairs secretary, Mr. Louis Pachutu. But before we took the break, of course, we led you up the question you did. Everybody's going to ask this question, and the questions come up. So they say, someone's asking, do you believe, this is a very pointed question, do you believe that the 39-year-old that you make reference to, Nelson Chamisa, should be standing for president next year?
Elections are going to be held this year.
This year, sorry.
If the party decides that he runs, why not?
Somebody asked, do you believe?
Yes, I believe in the leadership of young people.
Okay, there we go. That's the answer. So there's another question here. The youth of this country have doomed political participation till the war vets are gone because they don't want to relinquish power to the youths. We are waiting for the war vets to go when we participate. You from ZANU-PF, when you get somebody saying that, or how do you respond to them?
You see, I think it's very unfortunate that one would believe that until all veterans are gone, that's when they can lead. You create and fight for your space as young people. And with or without those who are veterans, there's always space if you fight for it. And I will tell you that as young people in ZANU-PF who are not apologetic, we are fighting for space. Today I was actually in National East, and I was talking about these issues. Young people must stand up and claim their space. And you see, all veterans, they are there as the custodians of the revolution. But that doesn't necessarily mean that they should lead everywhere. They might not necessarily be in leadership positions, but they will always advise us. They will always lead us in some way. We will always consult them because they know better than we do. But in terms of leadership, I think everyone has got the right to lead. And we have to fight for our space as young people instead of maybe seeing other people as a stumbling block to get where we want to get. Let's fight for that space as young people. We will get it, and I can tell you that the majority of our veterans will understand what it means to be a nation who believes in young people. They will always support us, and they will always make sure that we get some of those positions, and they groom us to prepare us for even more challenging leadership roles in future.
0772-168-045. I think I've got a call on the line. ZFM Stereo, you're live on air. What's your contribution? What's your name and where you calling from? Looks like we lost that number. Just got that as it was cutting off. Please try and call back. It's 0772-168-045. And the question I will ask now to you, Mr. Jidziva, in your political parties for years, often there's made reference to in this instance, Mr. Chamisa. Why is it that youths have felt marginalized, especially as candidates and as far as your political parties, especially in mainstream influential positions?
In our political party, youth are not marginalized. As you know, MDC is the only movement that brought in the issue of youth leadership, and the first political party to have parliamentary in 21 years was the Movement for Democratic Change. And in every organ of our movement, there is a youth space. and there's youth representation. As for now, youth are not marginalized, as you have seen. That we are the first political party in Zimbabwe to talk of youth space and youth quota, whereby in this upcoming election, we are going to have at least 20% youth participation in council cities for councillors.
Okay, no, I get that. But let's face it, going back historically, we're not talking about policies that have been taken up, because NPF can come in and say, we've also started doing this. But I'm talking about historically.
Yes.
What has been the reason for that, and what has been going on?
I don't think there was youth marginalization.
But I mean, if we look at most of the positions that were higher senior positions, most of them were taken by people that were not youth. So the question, therefore, this is the questions we asked. Like, why? What was the marginalization before, and what has changed now? Given that you've taken this new position, of course, you've had to take this position now. Why did you have to take this position now?
Nelson Chamisa have been the organizing secretary of this movement.
I mean, there's
below 35 years.
I agree, but I'm saying that's why I say it right at the beginning.
And it's a senior position in our movement.
Yes, but right at the beginning of the question, often the reference that is always made is Mr. Chamisa. So to simplify this question for the
Lenmo Jongwe was the spokesperson of this movement at youth age.
In fact, the MDC has always pursued and uplifted young people to be the leaders. When the MDC was formed, I think 3/4 of the people that were in the MDC were still youthful. And we had quite a good number of young people who got in as MPs. We had people who got into senior leadership. And over the years, we have tried to maintain this. But what we're saying is now we need to get to the level where we reach to the 60-something%. We have had young people leading, yes. But now we need to take it to a higher level, which is to say that whatever leadership positions we have, it should reflect the current demographic dividend that we have in this country. But as the MDC, we've always been clear in giving young people roles and responsibilities to play. And that is why that will bring us to where we're saying that what is participation? Participation is whereby people have access to decision making, where people have access to be heard, where people are put in positions of leadership, where people realize that they are making a contribution in this movement. And I think the MDC has been doing that pretty well. Yes, there are certain areas that we need to improve, but since the MDC was formed, we've always made sure that young people are present, young people are available to lead, and young people are given the opportunity to lead this country.
0772168045. Caller, you're on the line. What's your name, where you're calling from, and what's your contribution? Hello, you're live on ZFM. Okay, seems like we lost that call once again. I think I'm going to get my ticket to come and have a look at what's going on here and see if there's something that needs to look at. I've got Towai who says here on 0731168045 says, to both parties, we need policies that must start to be implemented now, since we are in a terrible big lack of jobs, backlog of jobs, of no jobs. We don't want to be promised the after election. Please ask them kuti ndapi ma steps avari kuita now before elections can have actually why not as Zimbabwe. That's Towai. I'm going to start with Mr. Matutu. What are you doing?
Okay, maybe if you allow me before I get there, I just need to come in on the issue of youth policy in political organization. Just to slip through. Remember ZANU-PF is a party that came out of a revolution, and our current vice president was actually one of the very senior leaders in the party at 29, and our former vice president Joyce Mjuru, she now is a only party at 23. This 1980, she was in the Politburo of the party and in government as well as a minister. And Bodagezi, when he died, he was around 31. But before then, he managed to become a minister of youth. He managed to become a political commissar for the party. He managed to become a provincial chairperson and also a chairperson of the main wing. I just wanted to take note of that. But coming back to the issue as to what are we doing to make sure that we accommodate and fight for young people as we go towards elections. I think if you can look at as a party, our efforts are all targeted at supporting the initiatives of the leadership of the President Idi Mnangagwa. Let's look at our main companies in the process of recapitalizing, reopening, or refurbishment, and those that have actually opened. I'll give you an example. Look at how Olive is now functioning and what has it been before. Look at companies like maybe Food Chain. Look at what is happening at Cisco Steel right now, and look at what is happening at Shaban and Mashaba Mine. I'm just mentioning a few. Look at what is happening in NRZ. Those are some of the initiatives that are being pushed by ZANPF to make sure that young people get their jobs. But these things, they don't happen overnight. Remember, we had a very painful and unfortunate period whereby certain things were not done properly. It doesn't happen overnight, but as a party, we are pushing towards that. But it is also critical for young people to understand that we should also be our own employers. Let's try to be creative and innovative as we realize that our country has got economic hardships. It is for now to be creative, to become entrepreneurs so that we can also create employment on our own. Good ideas, they sell. What it needs is just maybe for one to think of how best can they use the ideas to make sure that they create jobs and they support our economy. And like I said, it's a process. It doesn't happen overnight. And we cannot fool each other to think that things can suddenly change. And tomorrow we see jobs everywhere and everything will be cool. That's not possible. It's a country, it's an economy with a people who do different things in different ways. But as a party, definitely we're pushing towards that.
0731168045. I got this question. I want to come to you, but it's a very good question here. Somebody says, this is David who says, if your parties are so good, why is it that there's so many young people choosing to run as independents as opposed to joining your parties?
It remains someone's democratic right to choose the route that they want to take in their political direction. But as the MDC Youth Assembly, we've been clear that why can we not come together? And we have been magnanimous, we've opened our doors to say, even within the quota that we're going to get as young people, we are open to young people to come in and become candidates. We are open as long as the political realities are being looked at. So we have not closed our doors on anyone. In fact, the issue of the alliance has never been only about political parties. It's about bringing together everyone, whether they are from the church, whether from civic society, academics, to make sure that everyone is taken on board. Our idea, the big idea of an alliance, is to make sure that we harness all the votes so that we can be able to bring meaningful change in this country. So we remain open as a youth assembly, we remain open as the MDC Alliance to ensure that we come, let us reason together and make sure that young people's aspirations are realized. But then I want to come to the issues that you were asking, and which Comrade Matutu also tried to explain. I think the challenge that we have is that we want to give these people a whole lot of time to do things properly. Remember, they are the ones that have been in charge of this country for the past 38 years. And where we are because of the omissions and commissions that they did collectively. They failed to bring jobs. They failed to run this economy, and they cannot.
The listeners.
The issue now is what is the MDC going to do?
Yes.
What is the MDC going to do? The first thing that we're going to do is there are so many jobs that are currently there, but that are being occupied by people of pensionable age. So we're going to make sure that early retirement, 55 years, should be able to be given enough pay. The state should be able to take care of its people, of its senior citizens. The pension issues should be able to it should be enough to cater for the young, for the people that want to retire. So we have people that have continued to occupy space since 1980. These 29-year-olds, 23-year-olds that Matutu was talking about, they are still occupying these high offices for 38 years, which means there's not been space for young people to occupy. So a practical move first is to make sure that we retire people that needs to be retired. We cannot continue to run a government of retirees. We cannot continue to run a government of old people. Civil service is enough space to take quite a good number of people. You look at our agriculture. What has happened to agriculture? It has gone down. But we can resuscitate all this and make sure that people get employment. Our tourism is not giving us value for our money. There are so many nice places in this country, but what has been happening? So we want to change the culture where people get opportunities simply because they belong to a certain political party. So what we're going to be doing as the MDC, our big idea is to give opportunities. And you know, Larry, that the difference between a billionaire, or the difference between a millionaire and a street kid is opportunity. We want to give equal opportunities to all people. We have said Munuwese Kubasa, indefinitely Munuwese shall be at work. So opportunity is what we are going to give the people of Zimbabwe, to make sure that every person who is capable. Yes, there are others who are going to be employers. There are others who can be who can do well in the arts, who can do well in sports. We need to be able to give each and every person in this country an opportunity to showcase and tell us what they are capable of doing. And then the government of the day, a responsible government of the day, should be able to do that, to ensure that everyone gets an opportunity and everyone gets equal opportunities regardless of where they come from.
I want to move this discussion a little bit forward, because this is a thing that I'm very passionate about. I'm looking at the panel that we have here. Yes, there was supposed to be a fourth person, but they're all male. What message does that send to women that these positions don't seem to be available to women? I mean, for example, our panel here being all male.
Yeah, this.
Can we get Mr. Chidzeva to come in on this? Can I dream scanner kumashingo, for example? What message does it send to me? Because no one's on all the time positions senior. Yes, can I touch kuma youth kwacho teshingonzo warumeshit.
Yeah, it's a case of political party by political party. As for the movement for democratic change, we have a 50-50 representation, and it's only that the chairperson of the youth is a male, but we have so many female counterparts in the assembly, and at least 50% of our executive are females.
Well, it's just very unfortunate that when you invited us, I'm sure you're looking for senior leadership in our political parties. But of course, we have a lot of female colleagues in our executive. I will tell you, others are actually members of parliament. They are actually more senior to us in government. We have a lot, I can mention a lot of names. And almost half of our executive, we've got female colleagues. Even in our provinces, they are there. Even in our district, across the structure, they are there. But I think, unfortunately, this platform goes invited senior leadership. I'm sure that's why we are all male. That's my view.
So they're now looking at the thing. It says, I got a message here that I'm opening 0731 168045. That's the number to get in touch with us. I'm looking at the phone lines 0772 168045. It looks like it's behaving now. So please do try to come to call in and ask my questions. Kuti, what do you feel about your participation in elections coming this year? Do you feel they're compelled to take part? Have the political parties concerned gotten you to go and register to vote? And here we've got messages here loading. While this message is loading, I do want to ask this question. What someone says it's of you. This is the message that's low. These youngsters are up to advantaging themselves. They don't have the country at heart. I'm going to read another message. Somebody says, talking of young presidents, the current young, this is something that you say, the French president is currently 39. That's Jones in Johannesburg. I'm just reading a couple of messages. It says, somebody says, I think the coming in of Engineer Mzuri was to overshadow Chamisa. There's nothing to talk about youth space in Zimbabwe as long as Madara Aripo. Just going to look for one more, just to give you a rundown of the electorate that you're talking about. This is somebody that's saying that. It just feels as if Panika engineering Karipo and we're not there. What do you say to that?
What was the question?
Statements like that, someone saying, the putting in of certain orders was meant to create, to not give an opportunity to, yes.
Yeah, it's their view, but I think the journey for the emancipation of young people and the journey for young people to realize and take control of the leadership of different organizations or live in this country will never be an easy journey. What is important is for the young people to come together. What is important is then to say, what is it that binds us together than divide us? and it goes beyond political parties. It goes beyond your political, socio-economic status. I think what is needed now going forward is a generational consensus to then say, as young people, what is it that affects us, and how best can we ensure that we go the hurdles that are put in our way, how do we navigate around them and come up with? But I think if young people are united, if young people come together, and if young people demand and use their force, use their powers that they have in the numbers, I think we're able to get to the desired end we want to get. But structural challenges will definitely be there, be it in an organization, be it in a political party. Structural challenges for young people who will remain. But what is important is that if young people come together, if young people agree on the agenda that affect them as young people, to say what is the youth agenda in our generation, what is the responsibility that we have to carry out in our lifetime, I think it will take us to a better level.
0731 168 045. My question to ZANU-PF is, why do they need changes mostly when we are going towards elections? Somebody's asking that.
Okay, I don't know what really specifically is he or she is referring to, because like I said before, we value this, view these things differently. What kind of change is the question referring to? Because if the change in leadership, each and every organization will always do that when need be, and when there's need for continuity in a stable and comfortable manner within the organization. As for other things, I think when there is a new leader comes with different views, a different approach to a lot of things. So to me, it's actually something which is positive, and it doesn't necessarily mean that we changed our leadership so that we go to elections. No, we changed our leadership because it was necessary to do so. Coincidentally, it is towards elections, but for the person who asked that question to say we believe that only need to change when we go towards elections, I think it's a bit misplaced as far as ZANU-PF policies and the operation framework is concerned.
Sakuk from Gweru says, I wanted to know about the payment of fees for industrial attaches. So what's your position on that?
As for me, I'm actually shocked with a government whereby that makes a student who is on attachment pay a fee, because otherwise it's only visited 2 or 3 times for assessment, but they are forcing that student to pay the full fee. I think it's not normal, and as youth of Zimbabwe, we must come together and make sure that these things are abolished.
And let me give an opportunity for Mr. Matu to respond.
I partly agree with him that it doesn't make sense that a student who is at school and the other one is on attachment, they pay the same amount of fees. I actually spoke about that the day before yesterday. We were there dealing with that Mashunga. I'm sure that person could be from Mashunga. Actually, from Gweru. Probably he or she managed to hear about that. We are also pushing for that. And remember, we can never be a perfect government. Neither can there be any perfect organization. Those are some of the issues that need to be dealt with, and we are seeing that the issues need attention, and I agree with him that it doesn't make any sense, and those young people must be supported as far as their education is concerned.
Mr. Chinopusa, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, I wanted to come in. I think it's all to do with lack of priority. I think the issues that we are prioritizing as a nation are not taking us anywhere. We have a situation where it's not only about attachment fees. I think even the very same fees that young people in colleges and universities are being made to pay is exorbitant. We have people who are beneficiaries of an almost free education system, who ran down the education system that was here, but now are making the young people of today suffer for the sins that they committed in terms of not running our universities very well. So I think we have enough resources at this point in time that can be channeled towards young people that are in universities and colleges. So for me, it's an issue around priorities, to say what are we prioritizing as a nation? What are you prioritizing as a government? These are people who are supposed to take care of our industries, who are supposed to take care of all the workstations that we have in this country in the near future. But if we're going to make a lot of them get out of school, if we're going to make a lot of them not finish school, we will not be going anywhere. So That's why we are saying that what we need is transformation. We need fundamental change from the way we've been doing things. And I think ZANU-PF should stop abusing ourselves and abusing everyone to say that there's any change that is coming and that we should give them time, because we've given them enough time to do this and they have failed. And we believe that we don't owe ZANU-PF the leadership of this country. The people of Zimbabwe needs to be given a chance, and I think in 2018 we have been given a chance to make sure that we bring on board capable hands, we bring on board people who are able to prioritize things that needs to be prioritized.
Okay, interesting comment here, and you need a response from both of you. Say, first of all, to MDC youth leader says Vondo is over 40 and you should back away from youth politics, and this is perception. And then over to you, Amatu, to says, would you be ready to take over the youth league if Togaripi is said were to step down? Starting off with you.
Actually, I think that person doesn't know me. I'm actually 35 years. Yes, in the next Congress, I'm not going to contest as a youth, but I will be deployed by the youth in the management committee of the main body.
So the next Congress being when?
2019.
2019. So
yes.
You'll be 36.
Yes, and I will be getting into the main board of the movement.
Okay, so he's not over 40. I don't know. And then you went.
Yeah, I think it is not fair for one to say that if so and so steps down, are you prepared to take over? Because in our structure is not designed in such a way that when you are deputy secretary, if the secretary for youth affairs is no longer there, you take over. But it is the prerogative of the president to appoint the secretary for youth affairs. But as for the deputy secretary for youth affairs, I am voted for by the people. And if it so happens that the secretary for youth affairs is no longer there, again the president will have to appoint that person. But it's equally important for you to know that I am a Politburo member. I am a member of Politburo because I represent young people there. As young as I am a member of that board because I am a young person representing young people there alongside Comrade Togaripi. So I may not say I'm prepared to take over from someone who is still there. And besides, I cannot appoint myself in the case that is no longer there.
Okay, just to tie in that, one comment. I'm going to get a comment from the MDCT side and then from the ZANU-PF side quickly because we're running out of time. Given this Kwamara Mbinda at the moment, how are you going to convince me? Either way, just to participate in politics in as far as MDCT is concerned.
The MDC is fresh hands. The MDC is ready to go, and the MDC has put up a clear policy in terms of what we're going to be doing for this country. The MDC is promising young people that there's going to be employment. The MDC is promising young people that higher, especially education at the universities, will be affordable. The MDC is promising young people that free education at primary level is going to be established. And the MDC is promising opportunities for everyone across the political and socio-economic divide. And lastly, the MDC believes in true democratization and freedom. So that is what the MDC is going to offer. We're 38 years after we liberated ourselves, but we need to be really free in our own country. And that is what the MDC will be able to. And the MDC also, lastly, it believes that young people should be managers of their own affairs. And we believe that young people should be given the opportunity. So unlike ZANU-PF that needs a 50-year-old to lead them, the MDC believes young people should be the ones that are at the forefront of leading themselves.
Yeah, previously you had said Kwamara Mbinda and Teguta. I like that. If a young person is Kwamara Mbinda, it's very likely that that young person has got a piece of land that he or she is farming right now. So I don't need to promise anything much more than what he or she is witnessing right now. If a young person is in Tegutu, one way or the other, that young person could be part of a group who is doing small-scale mining, or he or she is actually owning a small mine right now. So that's who we are. That's ZANU-PF. We have got a culture of empowering young people, and in our view as a party, we feel that we need to make sure that they are empowered in such a way that we maintain our dignity as a country and also develop our economy in an open and fair manner. But as for promises in future, I'm sure everyone is witnessing what is happening right now. A lot of changes are taking place. We don't need to boost and say, here we are. We are the people, and without any tangible evidence, it could be very difficult. Like what Puta is trying to convince people to always believe in them. That has been happening. But we say you can witness from what is happening. You can check our history as a party, and we realize that we've always been doing a lot of things for young people, and we'll continue doing that across the sectors.
Gentlemen, General Pakutinda, thank you very much. That is the Deputy Secretary for Youth Affairs. That's Louis Matutu. But before, I've got Chila here. Chila, are you itching to say something?
I mean, it's interesting that this gentleman here, Mr. Matutu, Janzi, we are not promising anything.
No, you didn't get me right. I didn't say that.
No, I was actually going to applaud you on that. I think politicians should stop promising people. We have been promised so much for a very long time. I think, just do what you have to do.
Okay,
because the thing is, if you want youth to, the youth that we have today are not the youth that we had 10, 20 years ago. So, we have learned, we've been watching, we are also growing. Unfortunately for me, I'm on the other side of the youth. And I still want to benefit because we also lost our youth. You know what I'm saying? We lost the benefits of our youth. Unfortunately, we are not going to benefit Yedi Papa. But I like it. I like the way you are putting it across that you are not promising anything. Please don't promise us anything. Just reform and be structured for a progressive Zimbabwe. We are not that foolish. We are watching.
Okay, that's Sheila coming in with our story. Nice to talk to you. That's Chila from now until the top. That's Chila coming up from now until the top of the hour. My name is Larry Kwirirayi. I had, of course, there Mr. Louis Matutu, the Deputy for ZANU-PF's Youth Affairs, and then also present we had from the MDCT, the Youth Chairperson Happy Mochiziva, and the Secretary for that section, Love Moshinopusa. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I'll be back with you tomorrow between 8:30 and 9 p.m. Other than that, I say take care of yourself and the people that you love. And as I say, where I come from, Asili Siasebenza.
News, lifestyle, charts, live radio, station highlights, and much more. Get it all on zfmstereo.co.zw.